For a week, we've been asking what was driving the Spotify spikes. And today, finally, there's a name attached to the noise. If you're just joining us, BLACKPINK's 2026 group plans have been the big question. Contract era signals, anniversary timing, and whether Deadline would land as a real group project or just a symbolic reunion. YG had already put a concrete album marker on the board after years without a full group release, with the stadium schedule built around that comeback window.
This is BLACKPINK Daily, and today we've finally got receipts. Spotify footprint, a named cause, and a tour shape that's bigger than pretty much anyone was willing to call.
Let's start with Music Metrics Vault, because it finally ties those May spikes to something concrete.
We'll keep tracking BLACKPINK 2026 contract and anniversary plans. Follow the show so the next update finds you.
Here's Music Metrics Vault.
Deadline represents a defining moment for BLACKPINK, reflecting both who they are now and the direction they continue to move toward. Highlighting each member's individuality alongside the group's unmistakable chemistry, the album reinforces BLACKPINK's distinctive identity and lasting global presence.
So Music Metrics Vault finally names it Jump, then the Deadline mini-album, then a 16-city, 33-show world tour. Those May Spotify spikes we kept circling all week? There's the catalyst, in writing.
Receipts. Sarah, receipts. I sat here flagging follower velocity with no label activation behind it, and now the snapshot ties the whole footprint to a real tour shape.
And the framing sharpens it. Deadline as their return nearly 4 years after their last release. 16 billion total streams sitting in the catalog before this cycle even peaks. That's the stadium-sized number under the comeback.
4 years quiet and 21.3 million monthly listeners still showing up. The fandom never went anywhere. YG just stopped feeding it for a while.
Mexico City, Kuala Lumpur, Singapore topping the cities list. That's exactly the map you route a 16-city run against, not some random leaderboard.
Okay, real talk. When Ticketmaster starts surfacing 2026 BLACKPINK dates before YG lays out the full picture, how much should Blinks trust it? Are we looking at back-end ticketing infrastructure, or is the Deadline tour shape already hiding in plain sight?
Honestly, in this case, the listings carry more weight than usual. Reporting from both The Hollywood Reporter and Yonhap has the Deadline World Tour as a confirmed 31-show run that kicked off July 5th in Goyang, South Korea, and wraps in early 2026. So any 2026 dates popping up on Ticketmaster right now fit into the back half of a tour YG has already publicly scoped. One more piece. Yonhap confirmed back in January that the EP Deadline didn't drop until February 27th, which tells you YG was staggering the music release and the touring announcement in waves, instead of dropping everything at once. So if dates appear on a ticketing platform ahead of the formal press rollout, for this tour specifically, they almost certainly point to real shows rather than placeholder holds. The framework is already there. YG is just controlling when Blinks get each piece.
So if the 31 show count is the confirmed ceiling, does that mean Blinks hunting for extra legs or surprise city add-ons are basically reading tea leaves at that point?
Pretty much, at least based on what the sources can support. The thing to watch is whether YG uses BLACKPINK's 10th anniversary in 2026, which Korea Herald flagged as a landmark the label is actively building around, as a hook to extend the touring cycle or give it a bookend. That's the variable that could change the show count math. This one comes from YG Entertainment. Here it is, straight from YG. BLACKPINK returns as a full group February 27 with Deadline, their first OT4 comeback in about 3 years. That's the comeback date, finally on the official record.
February 27. After we just sat through the Spotify numbers moving on their own, 171%, then 103. Now we know what the fandom was already smelling.
And it lines up. The streaming spikes, the 16-city, 33-show shape from the Step Back segment, Jump sitting on 632 million, it all points back here. February 27 is the date the data kept pointing toward.
3-year gap, full group, a date in hand, and YG still let Ticketmaster and the streaming charts tell the story first. The press release is catching up to Blink's, not the other way around.
YG's own newsroom is putting the date down here, so this is about as official as it gets.
If you follow BLACKPINK, you might also like New Jeans' daily podcast, a bunny's briefing on Minji, Hanni, Danielle, Heron, and Haein, with Comeback Watch, Adore, Hybe updates, music signals, and K-pop news. Find it wherever you listen to podcasts. If something in today's episode caught your ear, we've got links to every story in the show notes. Head there for the full pieces and any extra context you want to follow up on. That's BLACKPINK Daily Podcast for today. This is a Lantern Podcast.